Good evening, everyone. My name is Molly Gribb, and I am the Dean of the College of Engineering, Mathematics, and Science. I'm delighted to welcome all of you to the Order of the Engineer ceremony. I was inducted into the Order in the 1990s when I was an assistant professor at the University of South Carolina. Here at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, we have a proud legacy as being one of the flagship institutions of the Order of the Engineer. It was established here in 1975 as the 11th of 276 links that exist today. Now, obviously, ordinarily, we would have this ceremony in person. But as you know, this is no ordinary year, and we determined that this would be the best option for celebrating this important step that you take today when you join the Order of the Engineer. Your induction and the rings you will wear to honor that affiliation are your reminders of the responsibility you bear as engineers to use what you've learned to make the world a better place, and the commitment you make today to honor that responsibility throughout your careers. You've all worked really hard to reach this milestone, but you know you won't stop learning now. To excel as engineers, you must engage in lifelong learning and practice the highest level of professional and personal ethics. You must also recognize that your responsibilities extend beyond your profession. Now more than ever, you must recognize the critical role you play as citizens of our communities and of our great state and nation. I encourage you to seek out opportunities to support the engineers who will follow in your footsteps by becoming involved in local schools in your communities and becoming engaged in the political process as an advocate for higher education, the very same education that has provided you with a path to a successful career and a fulfilling life. As engineers, we have the ability to effect far-reaching change. The knowledge you have gained can be used to enrich the human experience, bring people closer together, improve the environment, and ease society's burdens. With your knowledge comes great responsibility to reshape our world for the betterment of all people. We are here today to honor our commitment as engineers to fulfill this responsibility. Please accept my congratulations for a job well done and best wishes for rewarding careers in which you and your families and the University of Wisconsin-Platteville can be very proud. I would now like to introduce tonight's student speaker, Matthew Nye. Matthew is a native of Plainfield, Wisconsin, and has just completed not 1, but 2 degrees in electrical engineering and sustainability and renewable energy systems, with emphases in computer engineering, power and energy, and design and analysis. Following graduation, Matthew will be pursuing a PhD in computer engineering at the University of Texas in Dallas. During his time at UW-Platteville, Matthew was an active leader in many organizations, including the Student Senate, SUFAC, the Undergraduate Research Club, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, the Wisconsin Association of Energy Engineers, and Sigma Pi Alpha Wisconsin Theta.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a good day. My name is Matthew Nye and honored to be speaker for today's Order of the Engineer ceremony. What is an engineer? The dictionary may provide some trite and superficial definition which provides no value. However, being an engineer means so much more than any dictionary definition could provide. Engineers hold such varying roles in society, but there is one unifying concept for all engineers. I would say that being an engineer is about overcoming obstacles and changing the world around you, with varying tactics and methods. Ideally, we will all change the world around us for the better. It may not be easy, but neither is school for engineering. Some people might choose to become an engineer due to an interest in math or science, but there must be something more than that. I once heard someone discuss it as, you might like math, but will you like math when you're trying to finish a class project at 3 a.m. and cannot get one small or big thing to work? We've all worked on some hard projects that have tested our knowledge and our intellect, but we've all made it through. Through all these projects, everyone in this room has accomplished something amazing. You've not only earned your bachelor's degree, you have earned a degree in engineering. Your engineering degree is something you should be proud of. While not an easy degree in a normal situation, you have overcome the challenge along with the last 3 semesters. Those semesters have provided one of the single largest disruptions to the world's operations. Universities were no exception, with virtual classes not being ideal. However, we all managed to get through the challenge, which should help you all see that you all possess qualities outside of knowledge and intellect, which will allow you to be successful and impactful engineers. To get through virtual classes and other challenges brought on by COVID, you all demonstrated perseverance, inventiveness, and creativity. I am sure many of you found that your ability to communicate, while tested at times, was integral to success in this time as well. You had to communicate with teammates and classmates, sometimes in very unconventional methods for classes. Overall, the pandemic has forced people to learn how to be flexible and adaptable. This demonstrates how we must continue to develop and grow, as we can never predict what our future holds for us. Without a willingness to adapt and overcome change, we can never hope to reach our fullest potential. Thus, while many of us are leaving academic settings, we must continue to learn. No matter where we came from or what obstacles have been in our way, we have all reached this checkpoint of life. We are all engineers now. So again, congratulations to all of you. I am pleased to have met such fine people during my time at college and call you all my peers. I am sure you will all go on to do great things. For those of you who already have a job or opportunity lined up, congrats, and hopefully you will enjoy your time. For those of you who have not made plans for post-graduation, do not lose faith. Many people have been struggling with the current environment, but this too shall pass.
Thank you, Matthew. I would now like to introduce Order of the Engineer member and Mechanical Engineering Professor, Dr. Jessica Fick, and she will provide the history of the order. Dr. Fick was inducted into the order as a student here at UW-Platteville in 2003, and she was instrumental in the startup of an Order of the Engineer link at Johns Hopkins University in 2009.
As members of the Order, you should be familiar with the history and the events that led to its formation. The Order of the Engineer began in 1926 when our engineering counterparts in Canada recognized the special obligation of engineers to one another, to the profession, and to the public they served. They decided to recognize those willing to subscribe to the Code of Ethics for Engineers by inviting them to join the Order of the Engineer. The tradition was adopted in the US in 1970. The history of the ring ceremony stems from lessons learned from the construction of a bridge across the St. Lawrence River in Quebec in the early 1900s. A bridge across the St. Lawrence River was considered throughout the late 1800s. When construction started in 1904, the bridge had been in the making for so long, engineers neglected to properly check the design. Consequently, the weight of the bridge itself was too great for the capacity of the design. And on the morning of August 29, 1907, the bridge collapsed, becoming an ugly tangle of structural steel and enclosing the bodies of 75 workmen. After an investigation, construction was started again with a new design. On September 11, 1916, as the center span was being raised, it fell, killing 13 men. The bridge was built a third time, this time without incident, was finished in 1917, and is still in use today. This disaster, which claimed the lives of 89 workers, illustrates the unquestionable power an engineer holds in their profession. The Order of the Engineer is your solemn pledge that you will remember that your actions have consequences. And by the sheer nature of the projects that engineers work on, those consequences could have adverse effects, not only for the engineer, but the people around them and the public. Decisions you make in your field with your high level of knowledge are held in regard. People will put their trust in you, and you are obligated to uphold ethics, the integrity of your knowledge, and to share your knowledge. Use this trust and knowledge to make a positive impact on the world. As a member of the Order of the Engineer, I welcome you to your profession and wish you well in the exciting technical challenges before you in the coming years. Celebrate each ethical decision as your own personal success. Let this ceremony always remind you that professional ethics with its associated commitment to public safety and welfare comes before all else.
Thank you, Dr. Fick. I would now like to introduce Dr. Jody Procyse to explain the significance of the Order of the Engineer ring. Dr. Procyse is in her second year as professor and chair of the Department of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering. Her doctoral degree is in biomedical engineering, and she previously taught and served as chair at St. Ambrose University before joining UW-Platteville. She was inducted into the order in 2003.
The Order of the Engineer is an independent organization. Its purpose is to foster a feeling of pride in and dedication to that profession which binds us together. It promotes honesty and integrity and recognizes that today's engineers are dependent upon their predecessors to gain their skills. The ring is symbolic of the oath taken by the wearer and symbolizes the unity of the profession and its goal of benefiting mankind. The ring that you will wear is made of stainless steel, which depicts the strength of the profession of engineering. You are to wear the engineer's ring on the small finger of the working hand so that it will remind you every time you sign a set of plans, contract documents, or design specifications of your obligation as an engineer. You must check and recheck your calculations, your statements, your conclusions before signing your name. The engineer's ring says to all who see it, "Here is an engineer, a person with special technical knowledge and a publicly avowed dedication to their profession and the public it serves." You are now officially professionals. You should make the commitment to ask yourself, how much can I give, rather than how much do I get out of it? Accepting this ring means more than gaining the right to practice engineering in your chosen field. The pledge, the certificate acknowledging your induction into the order, and the ring that symbolizes these are your creed and pact with your profession. Consider this carefully and act accordingly. In times of worry, look at your ring and take courage. In times of honor, regard the ring with humility. Wear your ring proudly. You are an engineer. The ring is a reminder of our calling, in whichever avenue our profession leads, in creating a cleaner environment, designing a better bridge, devising a finer product or process, or developing a safer community.
Thank you, Dr. Procyse. I would now like to introduce Order of the Engineer member and Mechanical Engineering Professor and Program Coordinator, Dr. Anne-Marie Lerner, to present the obligation. Dr. Lerner was inducted into the order at UW-Rock County in 2009, and Dr. Lerner earned her graduate degrees from Georgia Tech.
Thank you, Dean Greb. We will now present the obligation of the engineer. Each of you who possess an engineering education and are willing to subscribe to the Engineering Code of Ethics are now invited to join the Order of the Engineer and accept the engineer's ring. You must accept the obligation seriously and with pride in yourself and your profession. Please consider the words carefully and remember always that our special knowledge carries with it the obligation to serve humanity with complete sincerity, honesty, and integrity. We can never anticipate all the challenges we shall face as we work on our designs, but we are honor bound to foresee all that we can and keep the public welfare uppermost in our minds. The obligation of the engineer will be displayed on screen. Please keep your mics turned off and read aloud the bolded text and only the bolded text. Are y'all ready? We start this together. I am an engineer. In my profession, I take deep pride. To it, I owe solemn obligations. Since the Stone Age, human progress has been spurred by the engineering genius. Engineers have made usable nature's vast resources of material and energy for humanity's benefit. Engineers have vitalized and turned to the practical use of the principles of science and the means of technology. Were it not for this heritage of accumulated experience, my efforts would be feeble. As an engineer, I pledge to practice integrity and fair dealing, tolerance and respect, and to uphold devotion to the standards and the dignity of my profession, conscious always that my skills carry with it the obligation to serve humanity by making the best use of Earth's precious wealth. As an engineer, I shall participate in none but honest enterprises. When needed, my skills and knowledge shall be given without reservation for the public good. In the performance of duty and in fidelity to my profession, I shall give the utmost. Thank you. Today, we have undergraduates and faculty and staff members joining the Order of the Engineer. We will start with an introduction of the faculty and staff inductees, and then we'll proceed with the formal roll call of all inductees, and then have you sign your certificates. Dr. Reza Denavi earned his PhD in electrical engineering from the University of South Carolina and is an associate professor who joined the University of Wisconsin-Platteville in 2014. Prior to joining UW-Platteville, he has worked for several years at the Nauru Research Institute, the E.ON Energy Research Center, and the ABB Corporate Research Center. Dr. Hanwen Jiang is an assistant professor in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. She earned her PhD in civil engineering from the New Mexico State University. Prior to joining UW-Platteville in 2017, she'd worked as an associate professor at the Research Institute of Highway Ministry of Transport of China. Dr. Xiaohong Wang, an assistant professor in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. She joined UW-Platteville in 2014 and received her PhD in Civil and Environmental Engineering from the University of Waterloo, Canada. I would now like to invite Dr. Philip Parker to read aloud the names of our new inductees to welcome you into the order. Dr. Parker was inducted into the order at UW-Platteville and is Associate Dean and full professor in the Civil and Environmental Engineering programs and joined UW-Platteville in 1998. He earned his undergraduate and graduate degrees from Clarkson University. After your name is read, please sign your certificate.
Thank you, Dr. Lerner. We would like to welcome the following new members to the Order of the Engineer. Dr. Reza Danavi, Dr. Hanwan Jiang, Dr. Xiaohong Wang. And again, after your name is read, please sign your certificate. From our Master of Science in Engineering program and an employee of the Han Company, Lisa Vanderschnaff Miller. From our Bachelor of Science degree programs, Faris Abba Alkil, Ahmed Al-Bin Al-Shaika, Abdulaziz Al-Mutairi, Noah Anderson, Jake Falstad, Mackenzie Barnes, James Baumler, Denver Bailey, Kayla Burris, Brendan Carr, Stacy Clark, Wyatt Clemenson, Courtney Cox, Marielle Creasy, Brandon Dabrowski, Claire Endress, Marie Escamilla, Cassandra Fritz, David Garcia, Benjamin Geibel, Nathan Karhowski, Sarah Gunther, Connor Gillickson, Jacob Hanasek, Zachary Hebert, Justine Hull, Hunter Jansik, Ethan Cott, Lauren Keita. Kara Close. James Lana. Michael Lang. Tyler Lentz. Ian Lindloff. Skylar Lopez Kohler. Baichuan Liu. Jose Martins. Austin Milligan Kiersik. Dea Gracias Neema. Matthew Nye. Adam Novak. Nicholas Peranto. Lexi Richardson. Jessica Rockweiler. Catherine Schilling. Robert Schwach. Davis Snook. Chad St. Cyr. Daunton Studer. Jacob Ubel. Howard Upegi. Eric Locke. Jack Wagner. Jesse Ward. Isaac Weigel. Olivia Weiner. Joshua Wellnitz. Jacob Widger. Kira Wilger. Casey Wisniewski. Rosabella Wolasik. Jesse Wolf. Bill Zimble. Before I hand this back to Dean Gribb, I wanted to thank her on behalf of all the attending faculty and staff for her 6 years of service as Dean of our college. As some of you know, Dean Gribb is retiring at the end of June. Molly, thank you for the ethical, gracious, and skillful manner in which you have continually moved our college forward. Dean Gribb will now lead you, the newest members of the Order of the Engineer, in putting on your rings.
Well, thank you. This is bittersweet. It's my last Order of the Engineer ceremony here at UW-Platteville. I guess you could call me a 6-year senior, and I'm graduating too. So now I invite you all to place your ring on the small finger of your working hand. So you are now officially members of the Order of the Engineer, and I welcome you each to the privileges and obligations of the Order. And on behalf of the entire College of Engineering, Mathematics, and Science, congratulations and best wishes.